Hello viewers, today we will be cleaning and servicing a Vornado air filter. This is model VAQS15. I think it's more commonly referred to as AQS15. It's a true HEPA filter, 3 speeds, and I think we have some more information down here. Made in USA, not the China. And there's another model number, AC1-0005, type AQS15, 0.9 amps. It does run, but it's a little bit dirty. I'd rather clean it out before I use it to clean the air in the bedroom or wherever I decide to use this in. There's a sticker residue here. That's from the Habitat. They notoriously use these stickers, which are extremely difficult to get off. And I find that kind of comical because almost everything in this store is $15. I would say probably 90% or higher of the small appliances are $15. So it's not like people are going to be going in there switching price tags around trying to get a deal on something that's not what it's priced. I just don't get it. Anyway, so I have to get that off. I kind of think that this filter may be new, or newer anyways, relatively new. It's quite clean, but I bought a new one anyways, so I'm going to use the new one, but I think I'm going to hold on to this because I don't quite think that it's shot yet. This I will replace because this is obviously used at some point. So let's see here. This is what the inside looks like. On the back we have 4 screws, and that should release that should separate the cabinet into 2 parts, and then we can easily service the motor and clean the blade. Okay, so now we have the internals. We have the switch, which I will take this off. So I'll try to take that off anyways. Doesn't seem like it wants to come, although I'm pretty sure it should come off. Okay. And it's going to have to come off in order to get to the other side of it. This light, I believe, just kind of pulls off like that. And we're going to probably disconnect that because if I use this in the bedroom, I certainly don't want lights illuminating while I'm trying to sleep. Let's see if I can get this off. There we go, now it's coming. Okay, and in this, I don't really like the way this comes off, but the way it comes off is push these 2 tabs in and down. It does not want to release off of there. Okay, so now we can clean this, and we can clean this, which is actually quite clean on the inside, which is good. Okay, I had to stop for a moment and I forgot where I was in the video. Anyways, this is going to be kind of challenging because there's an Allen key in there. I mean, not an Allen key, but the thing for an Allen key. You can see it right in the middle, right around there. And the problem is, usually there's a cutout here so you could put a driver through there and unscrew that. But for whatever strange reason, that's not the case here. And so it's going to be kind of difficult to get that off. Now there's a couple of things that I can try. If I happen to have a common bit that's small enough and long enough, I could potentially use this common bit to undo it. Now this is long enough, but it's too big. It's a very small. It's going to have to be a very small bit in order for this to work. I don't think that those bits are going to work either. Well, this is going to be difficult. I thought it was going to be easy. Kind of surprised that it's like that. Really, this should be easier. It's kind of a wonder how they even got it on there. Unless they, well, probably can do that. Okay, we'll do that. We'll take the motor off first, and then we'll try to do it with the motor moved, because I think I'll be able to get it off if I take the motor off here. Got to get the socket set out. Okay, the motor's free now. It's going to be a less amount of slack than I'd like here. But I think we'll be able to pull enough through that I can work with it. Yeah, we'll be able to work with it like that. Okay, so now we have this apart, and I think what I can do now is take an Allen set and get to that bolt like this. Still not really the greatest way to do it, but this is workable for sure. Am I using the wrong size or what? I'm not sure what the problem is right now. There we go. Came off very nicely. And this is a really good quality motor. Although I'm surprised it doesn't have oil ports. Looks like there's still a satisfactory amount of lubrication in there though. You can actually see it right in there. See the lubrication in there around the shaft. Nice thick windings. This is 10 microfarads FASCO motor, 1050 RPM low, 1350 RPM on high, and I believe this is American made. And this is probably a standard size motor. I would not be surprised if there is still some shape and size of this motor in manufacture today. And so if the need ever arose, that could probably be replaced relatively easily. Not cheaply, but relatively easily. So with that apart, oh, actually this is, will this come apart? Yeah, it will come apart. It's not super easy to get apart though. It's somewhat crimped together. Actually, it's welded right there. And well, that's disappointing. So it is a good quality motor as far as the build, the build is concerned, but it's, I hate to say it, but it's disposable. It's not meant for longevity. The rear, I'd have to drill a hole in there to get it oiled. I mean, it doesn't really need to be oiled. I think there's an adequate amount of lubrication in there already, but that kind of stinks. Well, I guess it's not that old. I really thought it would have oil ports. It must not be old enough. Excuse me. I thought this was a product of the 90s. I don't know, anyways, now we're just rambling on. So let's take this stuff over to the sink. We'll clean the blower off. It's not bad, but there's some dirt here and there. Clean that. We'll clean this, which is really what was bothering me cosmetically. That needs to be cleaned a lot. And we'll clean this, see if we can get the sticker off of there. And this, because there's the cord going through it, we'll just wipe it off manually. Okay, this has been cleaned up. Let's get this back on the motor. Still disappointing there's no oil ports on here. It is a good quality motor regardless, but wish I had oil ports. This was a little bit older, it probably would have. Fits on there very nicely. And I guess this is why there wasn't much attention paid to easily getting the blade on and off, because there's no reason to. There's no reason to take it off if there's no oil ports. It just stays on until it quits, and then you change it out. Which is not okay. It shouldn't be like that, but that's what it is. Looks like some lubrication has come out of the motor over the years. There's some on the, not enough to drip or cause a problem, but there's definitely traces of it on the housing of the motor too. So at least they put enough oil in it at the factory. It's more than can be said about most motors today. This is really difficult to line up because there's nothing to hold on to. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll get the other pieces and we'll put it back together. This is kind of wet still, but it's okay. It'll dry out pretty quickly once the machine gets running. Okay, so this has to go in first. Jeez, that's really wet on the back. This is kind of wet too. I guess I should have let all this sit for a little while longer. The switch has to go back in place. And I think this is going to be kind of frustrating because it didn't come out very well. I'm going to guess that it sits like this. It's relatively easy to check. We'll take the knob and see if the positions align logically, and they do. So it's going to sit like this. It's just a matter of forcing it through. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Much easier than getting it out. Jeez. I always like to make sure that the wires is in there good and they're not coming out like that. And here's the light, which here's the piece. It's pretty dim and it's red. I guess I'll put it back on. If it's an issue, I'll just have to come back in here and take it off. Oh no, I guess not. I don't quite understand the arrangement of this cord. It's like it doesn't come out anywhere. Okay, that looks right. Oh, the switch is not quite in place. Let's see, is there going to be a problem? Yep, that's going to be an issue. Yeah, I have to say I'm becoming less and less impressed with this thing as time goes on. The switch isn't designed quite right, and the motor has no oil ports. Now, what happened on the switch here is it just broke, so we're going to have to glue it in place. Hot glue, of course. while it's drying, I'm going to cut a new pre-filter. This isn't that carbon stuff, this is just air conditioner coil filter. But it does the same thing in the sense that it'll capture the big dust particles and preserve the longevity of the HEPA filter. And of course this is going to be a little bit too short, so we're going to have to kind of piece it together here. So I'll put it like that, and I'll cut it here with my hack glue scissors. And if you're using this to capture or reduce odors, then you want the carbon, but I don't care about odors. I don't do odors. Okay, so we'll have that like that, and then maybe we'll cut this in half. This is going to it takes some time to get this right, but it's okay. I don't like to waste material, so I'd rather just patch it up like this. That'll be fine. Okay, so we'll do that. Get the new filter out too while I'm waiting for the hot glue to hot up. I do tend to buy brand name filters because there's a lot of situations where the knockoff ones are not the same. Now let's see, is this one, oh that's not, that shouldn't be up against the glue gun. Yeah, I guess this one is, the old one is used. It's not heavily used, but it's definitely darker in color. I don't know how well this will pick up on the camera, but you can see it's the one on the left is clearly dirtier, so I guess we'll just toss that. As the glue was drying, I noticed we may have another problem. Seems to be okay if it's kind of flat, you know, straight up and down. But that may be a problem. Certainly shouldn't do that. Spin down is pretty good. I don't want to have to take this whole thing apart and readjust it. That's kind of annoying if that's the case. Well, we'll see what happens when I get it back together. Hopefully it'll be okay. Okay, now I need to get the other piece. Hack loose strings everywhere now. I still like hot glue, but that is moderately annoying sometimes. Okay, so now we're going to put the new HEPA filter in. Clean, and then we'll put this on top of it. kind of sticks to is making this much easier. And I don't know what I was thinking when I cut this originally. I made some kind of a major geometrical error because I only need about half of this. Okay. And this is a little bit of a nuisance, you know, to clean this filter when it's in 3 pieces like that, but it beats paying for carbon filters in my opinion. Okay. We're ready to test it out. Geez, the cord isn't doing too good. Okay, we'll start off on low. Medium and high. Not much difference in the speeds. Feels pretty balanced. The light's working, but it's very dim, so maybe it'll be acceptable. Okay, well, I think that's all there is to show here. This is clean and ready to be used.